All right, I'm Charlie Quinn here with Jadon Shuey here at Extreme Couture. Jadon, tell me, how'd you get into MMA?
It's a big one. So I was kind of like born into the sport. I My dad grew up, he was a professional fighter. Kind of had a gym while I was, growing up, and every single day I'd come home from school and I'd just be training, and it's just, fun, nothing too crazy. But then as I got older, I kind of was like, all right, I could see myself, doing this for the rest of my life, and ever since then, I just enjoyed every step of, growing and becoming an MMA fighter. So that's kind of what we've been doing.
Obviously, you mentioned your dad, who's also a fighter. I'm sure you've watched a handful of fights throughout your life. Is there any fighters that you emulate your style around and, you take stuff they do and implement it into your game?
When I was young, my dad used to train at American Kickboxing Academy in San Jose, and so I used to always go and train with DC's kids at the Gilroy Wrestling Program, and so I always was DC was a big idol of mine. I always wanted to try to emulate his aggressive grappling that he had, and so I'd say DC has always been an inspiration for me. He's always been just the guy that I wanted to try to duplicate as a fighter, and so that's kind of what we've been trying to do.
Did you play any sports growing up?
Yeah, I played all of them. I played soccer, I played football, I played lacrosse. I fucking sucked at all of them. Realized, all right, one thing I can't do is punch people in the face. I'm pretty good at that. So I decided, if I can't catch a football, then I might as well, learn how to fight.
So you talk about punch people in the face. We've seen the highlight reels. How did you get here? When did you realize that, you're a violent guy in the cage? You're not that violent outside of the cage.
I'm
You're a
not,
very
dude. I'm
nice,
not a violent guy.
lighthearted guy.
I just I enjoy the sport. It's a family affair. Grown up doing it. It's what I love to do. But outside of the cage, I'm the least violent person you'll ever meet. Like I don't ever, like to do that kind of thing. But I I just realized when I was living in Idaho that it wasn't a good move for my career to stay in Idaho. There's not a lot of MMA over there. People who are into MMA, they're not going to get too far. And so I was like, I got to plant myself in the heart of where the best of the best in the world are. And so one thing led to another, and here we are in Vegas at Extreme Couture.
We've seen you train in Vegas, seen you train in New York, across the country, pretty much everywhere. What led you to the move to officially say, Vegas is the spot I got to be? Like you said, it's the capital of the world, but when did it really click and say, Vegas is where I got to be? I got to be with, one of the best teams in the world, and I got to get myself better.
It clicks every time I come into the gym. When I walk in and I just see, legends, like, Randy Couture, I see some of the world champions, I see Sean Strickland come in here every day, and it's just the norm, it's not like I'm coming and seeing, my idols. They're just my teammates, they're here every day. And every single day I'm just reminded that I'm where I need to be. I'm surrounded by the best every single day. And if I want to be the best at what I do, then I have to be surrounded by them.
Obviously you got a ton of killers here. You got a ton of great teammates. Which of your teammates pushes you the hardest? And, what's your toughest spar in a fight camp? Who prepares you the best?
Man, I'll tell you, Artis Laus, he's an absolute animal. He's got the same kind of reach as me, same style of fighting. Um, he's an amazing striker, amazing grappler, well-rounded everywhere. And so whenever I roll with him, I love getting rounds because he just pushes me to be better. He's about ready to turn pro. So I think he's really good. And then when I come into the pro practice, I'm getting shit on by everybody. So it's a good look.
You've talked a lot about, stuff you do outside the cage. Obviously, you're a huge man of faith. How does that impact, your day-to-day basis and being in such a violent nature?
I'll tell you what, living in Vegas has really challenged my faith over the year that I've been here. There's constant temptation, there's constant distractions that are going to set me away from my goals and my aspirations as an MMA fighter. And so, honestly, it's been really good. Just trying to lock in, stay planted at a good church, and making sure that you keep God first place. Because in a place like this, it's very easy to let your career go out the window because you're choosing that instant gratification. So it's been tough, but I'll tell you, I've grown in my faith more this year living in Sin City than I have in the 4 or 5 years as an adult living in Idaho.
Nice, man. That's very powerful, very strong. You also have a lot of other stuff going on outside the cage. A lot of cameras on you right now. Can you tell me anything about that? Can you talk about that right now, or is that?
Oh, absolutely. I'll
Let's
talk
hear it.
about that all day long. We got this reality TV show that I'm about ready to be on. It's going to be amazing. A lot of content, a lot of exposure, a lot of getting face to face with the fans, and a lot of really good people that we've been talking to lately. And so we got that going on. I'm gonna be fighting over in Flex later this year. Hometown, love it. it's a great place to be. Flex has always treated me ever since I fought for them back in 2022 with the best care in the world. These guys are family over there, and there's nowhere that I would rather build my career off of rather than New York.
So, you talk about the pros getting after you. When do you expect to, make that next leap and, really go for it as a pro?
Everybody that I talk to, they're like, oh, what age are you going to turn pro? Or, like how many more fights until you turn pro? It's not about that, man. It's not about, oh, I'm going to pick an age or I'm going to, it's, in my opinion, it's about when you can start hanging in there with some of the pros here, some of the best in the world, then you can start thinking about going pro. But until you can even, go rounds without, dying, there's no reason for you to turn pro. So when I feel comfortable sparring with the pros every day and I feel like I can, hold my own, then we'll think about going pro. But I mean, I'm 21 years old. I have 9 fights as an amateur. I don't need to go pro anytime soon. My career is, just getting started.
Yeah, and you got 9 fights already. You're 21. You're doing the media aspect of it right. You're marketing yourself well. How important is that? I know how important it is. I don't have to ask me. How important is it to be, marketing yourself and having yourself out there on all these different media sites to
Look,
grow as a
well,
fighter? You need eyes.
in your amateur career, your record doesn't matter. You should be worrying about getting as much experience as you can. And on top of that, you need to be building up your personal brand and who you want to be as a fighter. Who do you want to be known as? Who do you want to, who do you want people to view you as, And for me, that's always been a big thing. I've always wanted to make sure that when I'm fighting, people have a story to look back on. They're like, I know Jadon Shuey. They're not just looking at some fighter that's on the card. They're like, that's my guy. And as an amateur, that's your opportunity to build up that respect and that personal connection with everybody that is following your journey. And so I honestly believe that it's one of the biggest aspects of MMA. As much hard work goes into grinding in the gym every day, just as much hard work needs to be going into developing that personal brand for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look at guys like, don't want to say the name, guys like Jake Paul, man, they've really built a name for themselves just by doing the media stuff. He's got about 10 fights and he's made more money than majority of the UFC roster somehow. So
Absolutely.
he's doing
Absolutely.
it, correctly in the media aspect. And, I like that you're taking notice of social media being huge and fight game. But
It's so easy to make money these days online. You just have to know what you're doing, and there's not a big learning curve. You just kind of start going for it, take that first step, get started, and before you know it, you'll have sponsorships coming at you, people throwing money at you because they want you to represent them. It's a great opportunity if you know how to leverage what you're doing. I mean, I have a skill that I'm learning, and people want to be a part of that journey. So it's been good.
all right, lastly, I'll leave you with this: Where's Jadon Shuey? Where's Jadon Shuey 12 months from now?
12 months from now, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be, doing the same thing I'm doing today. Grinding, training, getting some sponsorships. Just living life, man. Like I said, I'm 21 and I got a lot going for me right now, and I'm happy with where I'm at. I just think this is the building blocks of what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. So these are the crucial years. So I'm just staying in here grinding.
Oh yeah, man. Charlie Quinn, Jadon Shuey. See you soon.